So I have been learning guitar now as an adult for almost 3 months, and during that time I've amassed a total of around 65 hours, I would say. Total practice time, approximately 11 weeks. So not quite 3 months, but pretty close. And I've sort of been thinking about these first couple of months that I've been through, and it's also been brought to my attention as well by others that many beginners give up within the first 12 months. But a high percentage of those, you would imagine, probably give up a lot sooner than that, probably within the 2 to 3 month range, because it's during these months that I think you realise, wow, this is a long process, I'm not going to learn this quick, this is going to take time. And that realisation, I should imagine, puts a lot of people off, and that's the reason they put down the guitar one day and never pick it up again. Now when I think about learners, or guitar learners, I sort of think of them in two different groups, children and adults. When I think of children learners, and by the way, when I was about 7 or 8, I was a child learner for a very short period of time. My parents invested in a guitar, I believe related to the school offering all pupils guitar lessons, so they bought the guitar, but the problem is at the age of 7 or 8, I was somewhere around that age. At that time I had zero interest or desire to learn guitar, and I didn't catch that bug to do so at that age either. I was more interested in other things. I was interested in things such as playing sports, socialising with friends, going out, kicking a ball around and playing football and all these other things, playing computer games, things that didn't involve picking up a guitar and learning, so much so that I can't even remember the early lessons that I had in school, or how many, or what it involved. Can't remember any of it really. All I do know is that my interest level was zero, and because of that the guitar ended up in the bedroom gathering dust, and it wasn't even a matter of me giving up. It was more a case of me unconsciously just not caring and not having any interest, and that's the reason I didn't develop. And I should imagine that other child beginners may be in a different boat, because maybe those that do go on to learn either have a natural instinct to want to learn it anyway, or a natural interest, or maybe they're from a musical family, maybe their parents play instruments, maybe their siblings, maybe they play instruments, and maybe this gives them the kickstart that they need to sort of, I don't want to say forced into learning, but it's a lot more normal, they're surrounded by it. Or perhaps friends, perhaps you're in a group of friends and you all, gravitate towards learning the guitar or whatever instrument when you're young for whatever reason. Maybe that, who you're surrounded by can also have that influence when you're at that age, and I didn't have that. I'm re-entering the space in the second group as an adult learner at 38 years old, and this time there's a big difference because I want to learn. I have a desire to do so, and I've made myself aware of what it takes and what's involved and how this is a long process. And a lot of people may go into it a bit blindsided and maybe not clued up on exactly what it is going to take, and they think, right, I'll get a guitar and in a few months time, boom, I'm going to be playing all these amazing songs so fantastically well. But of course they realise quickly that it doesn't work out that way, and that brings a stop to their progression. So what I would be interested to know really is what percentage of adult learners go on to give up, and what percentage of those adult learners who give up have given up for the second time. Say I was to just call it a day and think, oh, do you know what, I cannot get to grips with this, I'm quitting. I would effectively be putting the guitar down for the second time without continuing my learning with it. So what percentage of adults are in that group? I know we'll never get the figures for we'll never get the data for this sort of thing, but I think we can probably rightly assume that a hell of a lot of guitars, whether brand new or second hand, are purchased and then sold or resold by people who effectively just gave up guitar. And it's a sad thing, but I can see why. I can see why it happens. When I think back to day one, I could barely form a chord. That's wrong already. So there. Right. So I think that's my D, I believe. And now fast forward another sort of 10-11 weeks, and it's night and day between day 1 and week 11. Yes, I have so far to go. I'm nowhere near proficient in anything, of course I'm not. But there is a big difference between day 1 and week 11, and you have to understand that that sort of progress is going to continue at the pace that's natural to you. You can't force things, you just have to put in the hours, put in the time, and you will see progression over time, but you can't expect instant results. And that's the thing that probably trips a lot of people up, expecting very speedy results, and you're not going to get them. So some of the common frustrations that I believe many people probably face when learning guitar, and that's the reason that they quit, and maybe you're facing one of these frustrations too, and that's why you're searching these kind of videos out, because you are struggling with one of these and you're on the brink of giving up. The first would be the finger soreness, especially if you are learning on an acoustic guitar like I am. You can check this video out up there that shows the process in the first sort of 2 months or so, and I assure you, after about a month, the soreness significantly reduces. You start building the calluses, and it does go away, and you can practice for longer. So please don't let that put you off and not pick up the guitar. You do have to just soldier through the first few weeks. Another common frustration that I should imagine leads to a lot of people giving up guitar at these early stages is probably struggling to even form a chord, let alone change a chord. And even if you do find it relatively easy to form the chord with your finger, or several chords of course, not just one chord. If you do find it quite easy to form the chords, changing them can be another matter, and that frustration and thinking, hey, I've been on this for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, why am I not getting any better at these chord changes? You probably are getting better, but it's gradual and it's so small that day by day you don't notice it. It's only when you look back over a period of time that you think, hey, I am actually a lot better than I was back then. But because you want that instant gratification, you want that speedy result, it can result in potentially the quitting of the guitar learning journey. And if you are one of these, please just put in the hours. That's what I'm doing. I can see the progress I've made in 11 weeks, and it's going to be another 11 years before I'm possibly at the point of thinking, hey, this is totally easy, not even thinking about it. Some point between now and 11 years, I'd like to think I'm going to hit the point of naturally making those chord changes without being frustrated. But it's going to happen at its own time. It's going to be happening at its own pace. I can't force things. All I can do is put the hours in. I can force myself to put the hours in, but I can't force myself for the changes to become easy. It's just going to happen with muscle memory and time and practice, and you're not going to get that instant success. So I should imagine wanting that instant success is probably what puts a lot of people off when they don't achieve it. And there's also struggles with strumming, with keeping rhythm, with playing songs at a faster tempo. If you're not able to do that, that frustration, I should imagine, can lead to people thinking, hey, I've been doing this for X amount of time now, I'm not getting any better, I'm probably not going to get any better, quit. That's what I think probably happens in many cases. So the learning curve is, if I just talk about the learning curve for a second with learning guitar, and I think of my own first 11 weeks. In the first few weeks it was super quick. I was picking up new things and progressing, and I could see it happening daily. I would say in the last 3 weeks or so it has probably smoothed out a lot, it's leveled out a lot. It's not boom like it was in the very early stages, and that's like anything really. You know, whatever you learn, you've got to go on this sort of curve that takes a long time, and that's the concept that we have to wrap our heads around. We're on this journey, this curve, and the end goal isn't just down the road. It isn't just a couple of weeks down there and then we achieve it and we're a guitar player, a proficient guitar player, and impressing everybody. That's not going to happen. For example, each time I introduce a new chord, I find that I'm going backwards a bit. You can imagine that demotivates a lot of people. If one day you feel you are getting somewhere, and then 1 or 2 days later you feel like you've regressed and you think, hey, what's going on? It's just the journey. You just have to enjoy it. We just have to find a way to enjoy it and expect the inconsistency in our practice from one day to the next, pretty much. This leads me on to saying that perseverance is key. You have to persevere with your journey, with your learning. Like I say, it's not going to be instant, nothing's going to be quick. If you dislike the way you are practicing something, you have to change it up. Whether that's the songs that you're playing or the exercises that you are running through. There's tons of things. The resources online now are pretty much endless. You can just go out there and find a way that suits you. try different things and see what is most enjoyable to you. Which exercises, chord change exercises, whatever it is, just go out there and find new ways of learning if you are not enjoying what you are doing. Give new things a try before quitting. So a lot of people probably set themselves unrealistic goals. They're probably thinking, I'm going to be playing guitar amazingly well so soon, and it doesn't happen, and you don't continue. Now, if I talk about my own goals, I don't really have an end goal. There's nothing in mind that I'm thinking, yeah, that's what I want to get to. I'm more just learning online, running through myself through these courses, and I'll probably continue to just naturally go through this journey for the first, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 years, and then I may reassess how I feel I am as a guitar practicer, and then maybe I want to go down a certain avenue, or, you know, it's all going to possibly become clear to me further down the line what my goal is. But at the moment, my goal is to just enjoy the learning journey and see where it takes me over the next couple of years. I feel you have to have a positive and patient mindset. You have to think long term, otherwise it can probably become all too easy to just whittle away the investment in your practice hours. You're picking the guitar up less and less as the days go by, to the point of just not picking it up at all and not practicing at all. I referred to the online resources that we have, and they are, you know, almost endless. There are so many things online that we can now go and find and integrate into our practice and pick tips up on and things like that. And these are things that people didn't have decades ago. But with that does come a fine line between what's going to help and what's not going to help, what's going to potentially take you down wrong paths. Of course, there are many ways to learn things, and you have to find things that work for you. There are also things online that may demotivate you. If you see that somebody has gone from total beginner to doing things amazingly well in just 2, 3, 4 months, and you're wondering, well, I'm nowhere near that. Whether it's true or not, and believe me, I should imagine there's a lot of things out there that are not true, you can't compare yourself to other people. You have to embrace your own learning curve and your own journey and not compare yourself, because that probably will drive you mental. We don't go from baby to 1 year old and suddenly start walking. You know, we gradually go through that process. We find a way to first of all crawl, and then we are somewhat finding balance as we, you know, find our 2 feet, and we progress to being able to walk, and then we're running with a bit of a wobble, and, you know, eventually we can run and walk without even thinking about it. But we have to grow and strengthen things up and close our fingers as we are learning, or muscle memory, and these will all take time. And you have to accept that you are going to be rubbish for a long time. It's going to take a long ass time before you can probably be considered not rubbish. So just put the hours in. You have to put those hours in and enjoy it, and remember why you are learning. Just remember why you chose to learn. Let me know what you think in the comments below, whether you've stumbled across this video several weeks or even several years after I posted it. Were you close to quitting? Feel free to give myself and others a little snippet of your story. Maybe someone else will happen across this video at some point and take inspiration either from the video itself or from the comment section. Somebody may see it and suddenly realise, hey, wait a minute, you know, things are not instant. It is going to take time. I have to find a way to enjoy the process and enjoy the gradual progress that is being made. It all adds up, no matter how slow it may feel, instead of wanting to hurl the guitar at the wall.